Good morning, all of you. Today we are going to see the address translation mechanism of 80386. Okay, as we know, there are three modes of 80386: the protected mode, real addressing mode, and the virtual 8086 mode. So we are going to see here in this topic the address translation in protected mode. Okay, yeah, as the one of the mode is protected mode, so how the address is translated means from logical address to the physical address, so that steps we are going to see in this address translation mechanism. So 80386 transform logical addresses into the physical address. Now it takes two steps to translate this logical to physical address translation. The first step is segment translation. So in segment translation, what 80386 does, it transfer logical address into the linear address. Okay, this is the first step. And the second step is page translation. So that linear address which is converted by the first step, so it takes the linear address and it convert it into the physical address. Okay, so if the paging mechanism is used, and this page translation is optional. Why? Because if paging mechanism is used, that linear address is to be translated into the physical address. Okay, but if paging mechanism is not used by the processor, only segmentation is used, so only that linear address is treated as a physical address in the first step, as we have converted from logical address to the linear address, so that linear address is treated as a physical address if there is no paging mechanism used by the processor. Okay, and this translation is not visible by the application programmers like us. It is done by compiler, loaders, linkers, and processor by using some system programs like compilers, linkers, and loaders. Okay, so that process we are going to see. So this is the overall process of the address translation. Okay, so these are two translation takes place here in this diagram. Okay, if you see the logical address which we have used in our program. Okay, so which we have used in the program, that address we consider as a logical address. So that logical address is converted into the linear address by segment translation. Okay, and here it is check if pg means paging mechanism is used or not. Okay, so that pg bit is checked by the control. This pg bit is present in the control register, so that pg bit is checked. So if pg bit is available, means it is 1. Available means if it is 1, then the paging mechanism is going to be used. If paging bit is 0, so there is no paging mechanism used by the processor. Okay, so the segment translation convert this logical address which we have taken in our program, in assembly level language program, that is converted to the linear addresses. Okay, by the segment translation. Okay, this is the first step. And if pg bit is 0, that linear address is treated as a physical address. Okay, if pg bit is equal to 1, then paging is enabled, and this linear address which have some fields that we will see later. Okay, so that linear address is going to convert into the physical address. Okay, physical address means which is in your physical memory. Okay, where the data is stored. Okay, so there is a page translation. Second step is page translation. Okay, so this is how the logical address is get converted into the physical address. So first step is segment translation, second step is page translation. Okay, so here we will see now the segment translation. Okay, see, so this is the segment translation of overall diagram we can draw like this. So this is the logical address. Hmm? logical address is given to the segmentation unit for the segment translation, and will get the linear address as the output of the segmentation. Okay, so this translation, now we are going to see. This is the broad figure. Now we will see in deep. Okay, so segment translation. So this is the first step. Remember, this is the first step in our address translation. Okay, now in this translation, processor uses a number of data structures. Okay, so here the first data structure is being used in the segment translation is descriptors. Okay, descriptors, then descriptor table, then selectors and segment registers. So each one have this data structure, have some structure or number of bits which corresponds to miss how the segment translation is done by using the data, these data structures that we are going to see now. Okay, so this segment translation contain these four data structure: descriptors, descriptor tables, selectors and segment registers. Okay, so we'll see one by one now. Okay, first is segment descriptors. Okay, so segment descriptors, that is the first data structure in our segment translation. Okay, so what is segment descriptors? So segment is described by a special structure called a segment descriptor. Means what? Now, suppose we are using in our program code segment, data segment, stack segment. So these kind of segments we use in the program. So suppose code segment. So that code segment is described by this segment descriptor. Describe means what? Ki, what is the limit of that segment? Who can use that segment? So this kind of things that segment descriptor is described. Okay, so that descriptor includes base address of the segment, then its length, the segment length, segment type, what kind of segment that is, then privilege level means which program can be used that segment, and some status information. So we'll see that structure now. Okay, now if we don't describe an area of address space in the descriptor, means the if we don't describe the segment in the descriptor, what it means, that address range is not addressable by the processor. That means that segment is not addressable by the processor if we don't describe our segment in the segment descriptor. Means what? Processor has to describe the segment before using of that segment in the segment descriptor. Okay, as I told you, the descriptors are created by compilers, linkers, loaders, or the operating system, and not by the application programmer. Okay, so these descriptors are created by the system programs only, not by the application programmers. So this is the structure of the descriptor. Now this descriptor is for code segment and for the data segment. Okay, so this structure is belongs to code segment and the data segment. Okay, so if you see, there are two words. Actually, there are two words. The below one, if you see, this is my first word. Okay, and this is the second word. Hmm. So this is two-word data structure. Descriptor is a two-word data structure. Okay, if you see here, it shows some fields, that is segment limit, then segment base. There are some bits which are giving the status of the segment. G bit, that is granularity bit, AVL bit, available for the processor only. Okay, then DPL bit, privilege level bit. These are two bits which shows you the privileges, means who can use this segment, described by this descriptor. Then P bit, that is present bit, type bit, then access bit. Okay, so we will see the each and every bit and the structure, what it says, how this descriptor gives the status of the segment. Okay, so we'll see the one by one. Now the base field. Okay, if you see in the diagram, base field, so base field is of size 32 bit. Okay, it is of size 32 bit. If you see this segment base start from here, so this 16 bit 0 to 15, then next 16 to 23 bits, and then next 24 to 31 bit. Actually these bases get divided into this two words here and here. Okay, higher order bits here, again in this word lower order bits, and these are the 16 bits. So totally 32 bit field. This base is the 32 bit field. Base of segment, so this shows the base of the segment in the physical memory. Okay, what is the base address of the particular segment? Of particular segment means which segment? Data or code. Okay, because this descriptor structure is belongs to code and data segments only. Okay, so this base field gives you the base address, the starting address of the segment. Okay, so it defines the location of the segment within the 4 gigabyte of linear address space, as I said. Okay, so processor concatenate all the three fragments of the base address to form single 32-bit address. So these three base addresses are concatenated and to form the 32-bit of base address in the 4 GB of memory. Then there is the limit field. Okay, so if you see here limit field in the diagram, so again this limit field is get divided in, this is 20 bit field, limit field is 20 bit field. So here these are the 16 bits lower bits of this word 0 to 15, and here the remaining bits are there 16 to 19. So total 20 bits of limit field is there. Okay, so what is the limit field? So this limit field defines the size of the segment. What is the size of the segment? Okay, so again there are two ways to define the size. Okay, and it is connected with the granularity bit. This limit field is defined by the granularity bit. If you see in the diagram, this is G bit, that is granularity bit. Okay, this is G bit is connected having taken the reference of the limit field. Okay, as I said, there can be two ways to define the limit of the segment. Okay, first way is what? See, in units of the bytes, in units of byte, to define a limit of up to 1 megabyte means what? The segment is of unit byte. Okay, and the limit of that segment is up to 1 megabyte. If the unit is of byte, the size of the segment is up to 1 megabyte. The second way is what? The unit is of 4 in a 4 kilobytes. Okay, the smallest unit is 4 kilobyte. Means what? Your segment is divided into the 4 kilobytes of memory, and here again the limit is up to 4 gigabyte. Means that segment can be extended up to the size of 4 gigabyte if the smallest unit is 4 kilobyte. Why 4 kilobyte? Because in the paging mechanism one page is of size 4 kilobyte. One page is of size 1 kilobyte. That's why this second type is there for the size of the segment. So that size of the segment may vary from byte to byte up to the limit, up to it can be extended up to 1 megabyte of segment. If the unit is the smallest unit is 4 kilobyte, then the segment size can be extended to 4 gigabyte. Are you getting? Okay, so as I said, this limit field is connected, is taken the reference from the granularity bit. Okay, so if this granularity bit is 0 means what? It follows the first way means it is byte addressable, that segment is byte addressable if granularity bit is 0, and that segment size can be up to 1 megabyte. Okay. If granularity bit is 1, then it follows the second way, that is the smallest unit of the segment is 4 kilobyte, and it can be extended up to 4 gigabyte. The segment can be extended up to 4 gigabyte of size. So this way, this limit and granularity bit are get connected. Then there is a third field, that is type. Okay, in the figure, see, this is again a 2-bit field, type field. So this type field shows a way, means it distinguishes between the various kinds of the descriptors. So there are descriptors like local descriptors, global descriptors. Okay, so it shows you, it gives the differentiate between the local and global descriptor, types of the descriptor, or it may be data segment descriptor, code segment descriptor, likewise. Okay, then next field is DPL bits. Again, it is a 2-bit field, DPL bit, that is, it shows the descriptor privilege level. DPL stand for descriptor privilege level. Now as this descriptor is giving the status of the particular segment, so this DPL field is used in the protection mechanism to give the access of that segment. Means what? Who can use that segment? Which privilege level can use that segment? As I said, there are 3 privilege levels. Okay, there are 3 privilege levels: 0, 1, and 2. So it highest is what? The 0th is the highest privilege level, and the application programmer work in the lowest privilege level. Okay, so that segment is, if the segment is the system segment, so application programmer cannot use that system segment. Okay, so this DPL field gives which program can use that segment. Okay, the application programmer can use only the segment which descriptor shows you the lowest privilege level, in that way. The next bit is segment present bit. Segment present bit. Now see, in the diagram I show you that bit, P bit. See, this is the P bit. Okay, now if this P bit is 0, if the present bit is 0, means what? That particular segment area is not now currently in the physical memory. Okay, means the descriptor is not valid for that particular address transformation. And in that case, the processor will generate the exception. If this present bit is 0, means that the segment is not present in the current physical memory. Okay, if this bit is 0. The next bit is access bit. Okay, so this the processor set this bit when the segment is accessed by some program. When the segment is accessed, so this bit is set by the processor. So this is the access bit, A bit. A is the access bit. Okay, so this is the descriptors of a data and code segment. Now if you see this segment translation, this is, see, this is how the segment translation takes place. This is the logical address. This is the logical address. We have to yet see the data structure of the selector, but consider this is the selector. Okay, this is the descriptor table. Here all the descriptors are defined. All the descriptors are defined. Okay, so this is the structure that we have seen now, segment descriptor structure. So that 2 words are saved here in the descriptor table, and the base address from that descriptor, segment descriptor, that we have seen now, that 32-bit base field. So this all base fields are get connected and making a 32-bit of base field. So that base field is get taken from the segment descriptor. Okay, get added in the offset, that is get added, the base address is get added in the offset. Okay, and it gives the linear address. It gives the linear address. which is the output of this segment translation. Okay, so here that segment descriptor is reside in the segment descriptor table. Segment descriptor table. Okay, as I said, segment descriptor table. So this is the segment descriptor table. So in that segment descriptor table, there can be three descriptor tables: the global descriptor table, local descriptor table, and the interrupt descriptor table. Okay, so that descriptor table is nothing but what? The memory, the array of 8 bytes of memory. 8 bytes of memory, array of 8 bytes of memory, which contain all the descriptor. Okay, so that descriptor table is variable in length. It is not fixed. The 8 bytes are not fixed. The how many segments are there in the memory depend on that. How many descriptors are there in the table depend on that. The length of the descriptor table is varied. Okay, maximum there are 2 raised to 13 descriptors, that is 8192. 8192 descriptors can be reside in the descriptor table. Okay, now so this descriptor table, that is GDT, LDT and IDT. It is global descriptor table, local descriptor table and interrupt descriptor table. It has some base memory, means the starting memory. So the base address of all these descriptors are saved for the GDT, global descriptor table. The base address is saved in the GDTR register, global descriptor table register. There is the data structure called GDTR, global descriptor table register. It saves the base address of global descriptor table. Then there is a data structure called local descriptor table register. It saves, it stored the base address of LDT, local descriptor table. Likewise, okay, if you see in this diagram, see this is the local descriptor table and this is the global descriptor table. Hmm. This is the selector. In this diagram, if you see, this is the selector. This is selector. Okay, so again this is the selector. Hmm. So from this selector it gets the index to that particular descriptor. So this is my local descriptor table and here the descriptor structure is save, that is that two words are saved here that we have seen now. Hmm, in the local or in the global descriptor table. And the base address, this is the base address of this LDT, this is the base address of this GDT. So this base address is saved in this LDTR, local descriptor table register, and the base address of GDT is saved in a GDTR register, global descriptor table register. Okay, so by this diagram you can remember that key there are total 8192, maximum 8192 descriptors I can save in the descriptor tables. Okay, it is not compulsory to have all the descriptors in the descriptor table, depend on my application programs or the system programs, how many segments are currently working in the processor. Depend on that, that segment descriptors are active currently at that particular time, and that many descriptors are there in the descriptor table only. Now why local and global descriptor tables? Okay, so see, the local descriptor table is particularly used in the multitasking system. It is particularly used in the multitasking system. Why? Because the current job, the current task, which is the current task, that task is saved in the local memory. And for those many tasks which are current now for that particular time, okay, that we say that are the active task. Okay, and that task segments, that task segment are currently active in the memory also. As those segments are active, only those descriptors are there in the LDT, in a LDT table. Okay, to have the ready reference for the processor, to have the ready reference for the processor, as the active task are, suppose there are the 10 active tasks, so it is easy to find out the active task. In suppose there are 1 lakh tasks are there currently in my memory, okay, but the active tasks are only 10, so that active tasks are saved in the local memory, and that's why that segment and that segment descriptors are saved in the LDT table, not in the global descriptor table. The global descriptor table are having all these 1 lakh task descriptors or the segments. Okay, likewise, so this GDT is having all the segment descriptors, but the active descriptors are in the local descriptor. You can say that this local descriptor table is a part of global descriptor table, which are currently active for that particular time. And IDT is, it holds the segment descriptor that defines the interrupt or the exception handling routines. As we have seen, there may be interrupts occurs or exception occur, maybe software interrupt, maybe hardware interrupt, software exceptions. Okay, so that segments are created, and that segments are described by the segment descriptors. That segment descriptors are stored in the IDT. The interrupt and exception handling routines descriptors are saved in a IDT table. Okay, so this is about the segmentation and the data structure called segment descriptors. Thank you.